Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namashrishtham Anamapi Satchiputram Atra Surupam Rupam Tasyagradam Gurupurim Bhatharim Voshavatim Radha Kundam Virikaramho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Shattita Shivaya Shri Guruntam Natosya Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Adaptatagalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sanjivam Sadvaitam Sadadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Pavita Shri Vishakam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. I've been speaking on Vishnu Sahasranama, which mostly is, we could say, is mostly more like Vaikuntha topics rather than Vrindavan topics. Although our Vaishnava Acharya Baladev Vidyabhushan also commented on this, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur was very much praising that. He said there are two great jewels in Mahabharata. One is the Bhagavad Gita, the other is Vishnu Sahasranama. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it's recorded that once he asked his dear devotee Srivas to chant the Vishnu Sahasranama, because it's just understood that previously in India all the Brahmins, they knew and regularly recited it. So anyway, I'm on name 476 in this recension, and the name is Dharma Gup, which means he who protects Dharma. At the end of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mamekam Sharanam. Give up all dharma and just take shelter in me, which is a revolutionary statement when we see that the whole Vedic literature, of course there are four main topics: Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, or four goals of life to be attained from following the Vedic literature. Dharma, translated as religiosity; Artha, economic development; Kama, desire, fulfillment of desire; and Moksha, ultimately moksha, to become free from material entanglement. Dharma is the basis of it all. Of course, one can have economic development and fulfillment of desire without dharma, and the modern world, especially the Western world, demonstrates that. What is dharma? It's translated as religiosity. That is a common translation. Srila Prabhupada often translated like that. But there's no real one word which can translate the word dharma. Formerly it was central or absolutely intrinsic to Vedic thought, the Vedic way of life, the Hindu way of life. People are very concerned to follow dharma. What does dharma mean? Nowadays the word dharma is used in most Indian languages to mean religion, much in the sense that the word religion is used in English, and whatever the equivalent term is in German. What's the term in German? Religion, more or less the same. So, to mean a particular faith system with faith in, well, it's very difficult to find what religion is also, but generally it means faith in God or gods, although it might not also, if you include Buddhism as a religion. Anyway, it's an otherworldly belief system, we can say. So in modern Indian languages we Hindu Dharma, Christian Dharma, Sikh Dharma, Muslim Dharma, and like this. But originally the word Dharma means that which sustains everything, that which holds everything together, that which causes cohesion within the universe, harmony within the universe. It also very importantly refers to the way everyone should act in order to maintain Dharma, the harmony within the universe, because if one acts in a disharmonious way, then there will be trouble individually and collectively. For instance, if one commits sinful activities, he will have to suffer for it. And if someone in a responsible position commits sinful activities, he has to suffer more. And if a whole community commits sinful activities, then that will cause misfortune to the whole community. Why is there so much unhappiness and unrest in the world today? One answer could be is that people are not following Dharma. So Krishna is one named Dharma Goop, means who protects and sustains Dharma. That Dharma, that system is going on because Krishna maintains it. I said formerly it's very much part of the Indian way of thinking. Nowadays, unfortunately, people, they don't have much sense of sin or piety. Krishna, when Krishna says Sarva Dhamman Parityaja, he tells Arjuna to go beyond sin and piety. There's a higher platform than thinking of sin and piety. That doesn't mean that sinful activity is allowable. But one should not think simply in terms of what is good for me, what is bad for me on the material platform. But one should come to the actual platform of Dharma, which is simply to act for Krishna's pleasure, even if sometimes it might go against what is normally considered to be Dharma, proper activity. And this actually happened during the battle that ensued after the speaking of Bhagavad Gita, that by Krishna's advice, that will come, I guess I'll discuss that in the next name. And we come to Dharma Krit is the next name, one who performs Dharma himself. I'll discuss that in the next name. It's a continuum, actually. So, if you hear the description of one name, then to better understand it, you have to hear the description of the next name. And then to better understand that, you have to hear the next name, and the next name, and the next name. And there are 1,000 names. And then when you've done that, you chant Hare Krishna. And everything's included. But you might not know it's all included unless you hear. This is why hearing is also important. Chanting, hearing and chanting. We can better appreciate Krishna if we know who He is. As Srila Prabhupada often said, that it's not enough to say that God is great, that's accepted. This is the very meaning of God. But we should know how He is great. So by discussing the points in Srimad Bhagavatam, so much actual information about the Supreme Personality of Godhead is in Srimad Bhagavatam. And having gone through how is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, then we come in the 10th canto to Krishna, who often doesn't appear to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He appears to act in some ways like an ordinary person. But first we should have the background of knowing how great he is. And then we come to the greatness of his great qualities is that he forgets his greatness simply to love his devotees. So his love is his greatest quality. And that he himself, although he's so great, he's more interested in loving his devotees than being great. And of course he employs his greatness to protect his devotees. So he protects Dharma and supports it. As he himself very famously states in Bhagavad Gita, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanya bhavati bharata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya tadushritam dharma sansthapanataya sambhavami yuge yuge. Krishna says that whenever there is a decline in dharma, whenever people get off track, and an upsurge of adharma, just the opposite, non-dharma or anti-dharma, when people become sinful, impious, when they don't care about dharma, then Krishna says, I appear in this world and to destroy, to uplift the saintly persons who want to follow Dharma, and to destroy the sinful persons who are against Dharma, and to re-establish Dharma. Krishna appears in every age, in every yuga. It's a technical term, yuga. There are different yugas. It means just like season, just as in the West, the seasons, the spring, summer, autumn, winter. So, in the great span of time, there's the Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, Kali Yuga. Krishna appears in every yuga. Often, to protect Dharma, to establish principles of Dharma. So often people ask that, well, the world's a real mess right now. Where's Krishna? Why doesn't he come? And sometimes people say, well, he has come, I'm here. In India that's quite common. Quite common. And then we end up with highly popular, respected incarnations of God going around in their wheelchair. There's one, Sai Baba, is said to be the incarnation of God, going around in a wheelchair, which makes us suspect. Well, anyway, we know he's not God, but that's a good evidence that he isn't. The next avatar is Kalki, but there's already someone claiming himself to be Kalki. He was working in an insurance office, and around the age of 40-something, he remembered he's an incarnation. There's a bit of a problem with that, in as much as, according to the scriptures, Kalki comes 427,000 years later. Well, what's the answer? Why doesn't... Actually, these so-called avatars, they are themselves symptoms of adharma. And that people who think themselves to be followers of dharma are cheated by such people is another symptom of adharma or non-dharma. So where is Krishna in Kali Yuga? In Kali Yuga, Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna Avatar. Nam Hoite Hoi Sarva Jagat Nishta. In this age of Kali, Krishna has descended as the holy name, as his name. He is his name. By the holy name, the whole universe can be delivered. Krishna is present as his holy name. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came in Kali Yuga and he brought holy name, and also he taught the process of surrendering to Krishna. Krishna says, surrender to me. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, chant Hare Krishna. But he also taught how to surrender to Krishna. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Jive Daya Kare Saparshada Shriya Dharma Saha Avatar. Being very merciful to the fallen people of this age, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, descended in this world along with Saparshad Shriya, along with his associates and his holy dham, Navadvip dham. Atonta durlabha prema karibari dan shikhai sharanagati bhakatera pran. To give that prema, Krishna prema, which is very rare to attain, to give that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught the process of sharanagati, how to take shelter of Krishna. This process is the very life of the devotees. So in this Kali Yuga, it's very difficult to follow all the different processes of Dharma. Generally, Krishna comes, in his different avatars, he teaches the process of Dharma according to the age. In the Satya Yoga, Krishna teaches the process of how to meditate and attain perfection. In the Treta Yoga, he teaches the process of how to perform sacrifices and attain perfection. And in the Dwarapa Yoga, he teaches how to worship the deities and attain perfection. And in this Kali Yuga, he teaches Hari Kirtan. Kriteya Dhyato Vishnu Tretayam Yajjato Makai Dwapare Parichayayam Kalo Tad Hari Kirtan. Everything that could be had by all these complex processes, difficult processes previously, that can all be had by the chanting of the holy names. Because people in this age, there's no other hope. But still, Dharma should not be neglected. Another meaning of the term Dharma, that's very intricately connected with the whole understanding of Dharma, is Varnashram. Dharmic societies are divided into Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, Brahmacharis, Grihasthas, Vanaprasthas, Sannyasis. So Krishna is the giver of this system, Chakta, Varya, Maya, Shrishta, Guna, Karma, Vibhavasha. So when Krishna comes to re-establish Dharma, that also means Varnashram Dharma, which is the social system that is conducive for living a civilized, pious life and for practicing Krishna consciousness. And so those who follow this system of Dharma, that means they follow the rules and regulations given in the Vedic literature for living a civilized life, God-centered life, and by following that, they themselves are protected by Dharma, which ultimately means by Krishna. So this whole system is upheld by Krishna. Dharma means, another meaning of Dharma is the intrinsic characteristic. The intrinsic characteristic of every living being, the most intrinsic characteristic, everyone has to serve. That service is meant for Krishna. Just like the intrinsic characteristic of fire is to give heat and light. The intrinsic characteristic of water, which is not frozen or gaseous in its natural state, it is to dissolve liquids, quench thirst, dissolve certain substances, give taste. Without water on the tongue, you can't taste anything. So water has these, it's liquid, it flows. These are characteristics of water. How is that? We may chemically analyze how fire gives light and heat, but ultimately, why is it like that? Why is fire hot and light? Krishna made it like that. That's the simple answer. Which the PhDs in the universities They don't know it, and even if you tell them, most of them won't believe it. Because they didn't find any God in their microscope, or their telescope, or in their equations, and there's no God. They didn't find any God, there's no evidence. One of the evidences that there is God is that they can't find Him. Because you can't find Him by any material means. They won't find Him. We can tell you before you do your examinations and analyses, we can tell, because you start off with doubt. You can't find God by doubt. One has to have some initial faith. And then Krishna will reveal Himself. How does Krishna reveal Himself? Atha Sri Krishna Namadi Nabhavedrahya. He's Krishna's not the name, fame, form, qualities and pastimes, everything of Krishna. They're not revealed to mundane senses and intelligence. So what's the process? Sevon mukhe hi jivado swami visprati. If we serve Krishna with a mood, I want to serve Krishna, beginning with the tongue, which means to speak about Krishna, sing the names of Krishna, and take Krishna prasadam. And Krishna is pleased to reveal Himself to such a person. So that's another part of Krishna's protecting Dharma, that He makes Himself available as a system to approach Krishna. He has given a system. There are certain things, do's and do nots. If we do chant Hare Krishna, hear about Krishna in association with devotees, take Krishna prasad, then Krishna consciousness will develop in our heart. Ultimately, it all depends on Krishna's mercy. But His mercy is He's given this system of Sahasranama. And there do not have illicit sex, intoxication, gambling, meat eating, watching the Olympic Games. These are the do nots. You're not interested in watching the Olympic Games? Otherwise, if you were, you wouldn't be here, right? You must be on TV right now, I guess. So do's and do nots. If we follow, Krishna will be pleased to reveal Himself. Then generally He's not obliged to, but He likes to. So, what else is there to say about this? So one of the commentators on this says that Krishna upholds Dharma. So this name can remind us that we should follow Dharma. We should always be thoughtful of Dharma. We'll find in Mahabharata and Ramayana, they're very instructive. The topic is again and again comes up. How should we act? Especially in Mahabharata, comes again and again the situation of Dharma Sankat. Means you don't know what to do. Dharma means a rule that you should follow, what you should do. But what if one rule contradicts another rule? Then what do you do? Pray to Krishna. Ask your guru. Well, what if he's not there? Or what if you disagree with your guru? You're not supposed to do that, are you? But that happens in Mahabharata. What if you're supposed to kill your guru? That's at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita. Guru nahatvahi mahanubhavan. And Krishna said, you want to kill my gurus? What are you talking about, Krishna? This is crazy. And Krishna said, yeah. Yeah. Now, any of my disciples here? Yeah. Well, I'm not recommending it as a general policy. But to that extent, it's the most unthinkable thing. The whole Arjuna, he didn't want to fight because he had to kill his gurus, his friends. If I have to fight, I have to fight because I'm a Kshatriya, my brother, elder brother. That's very important in Dharma. You can't imagine in modern life you have to follow your elder. Well, people do follow their elder brother. My elder brother had illicit sex, gambling, so I do that also. But the idea of following his orders because he's following Dharma, there's no idea of any such thing. So Arjuna was bewildered. I have to fight, it's my duty. I know it's my duty as a Kshatriya, but there'll be so much bad consequence. There's so many, one after another. Mahabharata has all this. Mahabharata stories. Well, one I like to tell again and again because it demonstrates how to apply intelligence in following rules and regulations of scripture. Well, to make a long story somewhat shorter, one time Arjuna fighting on the battlefield. We're talking about the battlefield, we're talking about miles and miles, big armies, and they're spread out over miles and miles. So Arjuna got some news that Yudhishthira was severely injured and had been taken back to the camp, which doesn't normally happen. The king has to stay on the battlefield. So Arjuna became very concerned, and he went back to the miles and miles from his fighting position to see Yudhishthira. And Yudhishthira wasn't happy at all to see him, because he thought, you should be out in the battle fighting. Why did you come and see me? Why did you leave? And Yudhishthira started to berate Arjuna. What are you doing? You're a coward. You're supposed to be out there. Arjuna is his younger brother. The word coward, you're like a eunuch. Oops, I'm supposed to say about eunuchs these days. I get in prison for that. And Yudhishthira, just to goad Arjuna. You know this word goad? Goad, it's like for the elephant. How does a little man sitting on top of the elephant get the elephant? He has what's called a goad. It's a little metal spike, and he sticks it in the elephant. It's a little, the elephant, he's a big, strong animal, but it makes him, and he starts to move here and there. So, goading, he's hurting Arjuna with his words to get him to go back and fight. So he said, you might as well throw away your Gandiva. And then Arjuna pulls out his sword and he goes to kill Yudhishthira. And everyone there, Krishna, who's with Arjuna, of course, because Krishna drove him, and said, what are you doing? I'm going to kill Yudhishthira. Are you crazy? What are you doing? And the whole battle is you came here for the benefit of Yudhishthira. The whole battle depends on him. If you kill him, the whole thing's I have to kill him. Why? But I made a vow once that if anyone ever tells me to give up my Gandiva, I'll kill him. So it's a vow. I have to do it. No question about it. We're Kshatriyas, make a vow. You have to fulfill your vow. Krishna said, okay, alright, just wait a minute. So Krishna told the story. Here we go, Russian dolls. One story inside another. Anyway, it's only one story. Krishna told Arjuna the story that once there was a very pious Brahmin who lived at the edge of a village just next to the jungle, and he had made a vow never to tell a lie in his life. A good vow, right? Brahman is supposed to be truthful. Kshatriyas don't have to be truthful. They can tell lies. But Brahman is supposed to. So he made a vow, I'll never tell a lie in my life. So one day he's standing outside his cottage and a man comes running up and says, help, help, I'm a merchant. I'm carrying so much money with me. And there's a gang of thieves behind me. They want to kill me and take the money. Where can I hide? He said, go and hide in the jungle over there. A few minutes later, a gang of thieves came running up and said, we're a gang of thieves, we're chasing a merchant, we've got a lot of money, we want to kill him and take his money. Do you know where he is? And the Brahmin said, he's over there. So the gang went and found him and killed him and took all the money and said, thank you very much to the Brahmin. And the Brahmin didn't tell a lie, and when he died he went to hell. He should have broken his vow. To take a vow is a very serious matter, but to protect an innocent person is more important. He would not have gone to hell if in that circumstance he had broken his vow, because there is a higher principle at stake. So even if one is taking a vow to be truthful, in certain circumstances he should break that vow. So Krishna said to Arjuna, so in this circumstance, you don't kill your brother. You made a vow. What are we going to do? So Krishna quoted from Shastra and said that if to a respectable person you speak to him in a disrespectful manner, that's equal to killing him. So Arjuna said a few insults to Yudhishthira. He fell out his feet and begged forgiveness, and Yudhishthira said, yeah, get out and fight, go out, immediately, don't wait anymore. So what's the story? Dharma Sankara. In the matter of dharma, it may be that one clashes with another. Should I tell a lie or not tell a lie? Should I kill my brother or not kill my brother? And these are very heavy things, because every action has a reaction. And if you don't follow dharma properly, then you really could get in a lot of trouble. Just like the Brahmin thought, I'm doing the right thing by not telling a lie. But the whole idea of him taking a vow that he wouldn't tell a lie is so that he would get a good result in the next life. But he ended up in hell. What was his fault? Well, the fault was that he didn't properly understand Dharma. But it can be very difficult to understand. So what do? Sarva Dharma, give up all Dharma. But if you give up all Dharma, then you go to hell. But Mame Kam Sharanam Vraja, take shelter in Krishna. And for the devotee, even if there is some discrepancy in the practice of Dharma, Krishna will protect him. That's not an excuse to break the laws of Dharma. But we know that Krishna is protecting Dharma, and Krishna's own highest Dharma is to protect his devotees. Krishna, in inducing Arjuna to apparently break the rules of Dharma, as he will do after the Bhagavad Gita, in the killing of Bhishma, Drona, Karna. Arjuna's there every time, apparently breaking the rules. But Krishna says, you declare, Arjuna, my devotee will never be vanquished. So Krishna, he also has his Dharma, and his highest Dharma is to protect his devotee. Krishna gives artha and kama to everyone, but dharma and moksha only to special people. Anyway, I'll get into that more in the next session. Is that finished now? And kirtan dharma should continue. There's also kirtan, speaking about Krishna. That's also required. Hare Krishna. Any question about this, please? No. So everything is resolved. Harinam.
The other service of the tongue is?
Taking prasad. That we all know. That's the most easy part of bhakti, to be expert at. There are few expert cooks, but there are very many expert relishers of prasad. So that's going on now also?
Yes.
Hare Krishna. All glory to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much to Krishna Prema. What for? For being here year after year. That's a great achievement. Yes. In the modern Western world, to be a president year after year, it's quite unusual. Well done.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.